Oh, what? You
I'm
look the part.
I'm just proud to be American with
You
my
look great.
what is it? Bass Pro? Bass Pro?
Bass Pro Shop, baby.
Yeah, I look quite fetching, don't I?
You look quite fetching indeed. Yes, it looks great on you. I
Thank you.
love it. And
Yeah,
so Phil took the purple.
yeah, I'll give him the purple. He loves purple.
I love that. Is he wearing it while he's driving this week?
In spite of the fact Phil is a trucker cap is not actually his cup of tea. But I feel like we're gonna really, neither of us has like sun hats for the beach or summer, so it was actually a really great gift.
Well, I'm so glad. I'm so glad. It looked good on you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
It's probably got hat hair now, but um no, I do quite I always fancied myself quite attractive in a good hat.
Very, very attractive in a good hat. Very attractive,
Yes,
I might
thank you. I have to ask though, wearing a Bass Pro Shops hat,
say. Mhm.
is there any kind of like, will I be perceived a certain way?
I don't think so. I think it's just kind of like a staple.
Yeah.
It's just a I don't know. I think every all sorts wear it. Um, but I don't know because I don't wear them. So, but I would, and I wouldn't care about going around if
Nah,
anybody said anything.
I'll
Nah.
make it trend.
Yeah.
It'll be trending in an iconic way. It's the same
Yes.
shop you got the badge from, right?
That
That's
is
why
where it is.
I ask. That's why I ask.
Yes. Yes. I knew I had to get Melanie something that was like quintessential America, you know, very, very American. So of course I went to Bass Pro Shop,
Yeah.
which you're bound to find something there. And I found her a nice magnet. I wasn't sure if she was going to chuck it or keep it. It was okay either way. But I forgot even what it says.
Um, Something about my Bible and my guns.
Yeah, like all I need in this
Oh,
world
that's
is my
it.
Bible and my gun.
Listen, the way I had shock when I found that at the bottom of the thing, it was fucking hilarious. I don't know what to do with it. It's upside down on my fridge.
That works. You
Hello.
should put it out on your door. Just, then no one's coming and knocking.
No. Well, I've got Castle of Horror anthology out on my balcony, so no one's coming anyway.
Yeah, put the magnet right next to it and then boom. No one's coming to visit you.
Yeah, it was something. It was something.
You're
I'm so
welcome.
impressed that you had the balls to buy it. I couldn't keep a straight face buying something
Oh
like
yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, I don't know what to tell you.
I guess if the shop is so big and they sell it, they wouldn't be surprised someone's buying the magnet. But
No, not at all. And it's like it's people are very diverse in their
yeah,
beliefs and
yeah.
and what they feel. So
It keeps the world interesting, doesn't it?
it's something. Yeah, it's definitely something. It gives me something to talk about.
Absolutely. Well, welcome. Do
Yeah. Welcome to the show, everyone. I'm Angela Montoya, and I'm here with Melanie Schubert. Melanie, how are you today?
You know what? It's funny you should ask. Because
Okay.
about 5 or 10 minutes before we were about to record, I got an email back from Sandra that she'd finished reading my manuscript. So
Stop it.
yeah, so if I was chaotic for the first, I
Your brain
couldn't
was
stop
already,
thinking about it. And
yeah.
so I was like, well, you might as well read it because your brain is like already going over a million things and like possibilities. So I read through it, but then my brain was buzzing over that. The power it took, luckily it was Claire on the show because
Yeah.
I'm so like obsessed with her and her book. So my brain was able to like go back into that lane.
Shift. Yeah.
But
Yeah.
yeah, so there's that.
How are we feeling? Because this is your first edit letter
Yeah.
ish notes back from your agent. I mean, she's given you notes already before, but now this is
Yeah.
like we're rereading everything, a new version of your book. Like, how are we feeling?
We
What
feel
happened?
good. Like I was a bit, yeah, like just the initial stunned mullet shock that you just
Yes.
get when you, so she's got like a bunch of notes and we're going to do another round. So the initial was like, the initial thing is to like panic and feel like you didn't do the thing. But it was so good chatting to Claire and just remembering like this is maybe only the third or fourth revision of this book.
Right.
Realistically, that's not much
Right.
when it comes, like
No.
when you actually think about a timeline of it. And when I actually read over her notes, it's all amazing. It's actually, I've got way more notes this time in terms of it's more line edit stuff now. So it's like
Nice.
fine tuning certain stuff, little plot hole. It was actually amazing reading her feedback because I felt like where the notes before were kind of like she left it in, not left it in my court. It was like two big kind of developmental things. And then now it's like all the little bits. So it was kind of cool to see her react to like everything and be like, okay, well, I want to know like, should Aran be her intern or should he just be like, should they be at the same level because of how they interact? Should the like all these little parts?
The
It was like,
little things.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So I'm actually like, I don't know, it made me weirdly excited.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
Luckily,
Especially
we
to know you're on the right track. Like, how is
yeah.
she feeling?
Yeah, she said she really loved it and she found it hard to like put down and go do other stuff.
Yeah.
So
Oh,
she
I
really
mean,
loves
that
it.
alone, that's all you needed to hear. That's
That's it.
amazing.
That's it. So like actually when I read her notes, it's yeah, it seems like quite doable, just fixing little parts here and there that I missed in this part. Not even missed. It's really just I can see how badly she wants to help me make this the best version of the book it can be. So
Yeah.
that's really exciting to see. So in that, even though it's like a bit daunting to be like, can I like remember to do all these things in one edit? I always find that a bit daunting the way my brain works. Um, but I think I can do I know I can do it. Like, and the fact
Yeah.
that she
Yeah.
really loved it at its she says it's already super strong. It's just we're strengthening it more. And yeah, isn't that the whole process? So
Hell yeah. Adding to the layers, just making it better with each round. I think
yeah,
that's the goal. And
yeah,
so what, I mean, you already have the tools because you've already been through like a mentorship program, you've been through revisions.
yeah.
Like with this process, what is going to be like your
Mm.
process to tackle the edits?
That's
Do you
a
have a
good
game plan?
question. It's
Okay.
weird. Yeah, she's good. I like your extra questions lately. Um, it's weird because when we had Megan on the other day and she mentioned that book, Romancing the Beat, and she
Yeah.
raved about that, I actually ordered it and it's arrived. So I think I'm gonna actually have a little read over that because it's so short and because this is a romance. And she loved the like kind of now that I've added in all these past lives, she loved that like second chance. Well, in this case, it's like eighth chance romance. Um,
Yes.
so so yeah, she was like we could ham that up even more, which I love the idea of leaning into that even more. So I think it could be helpful to read that. Aside from that, I don't know, like most of the time, I think it comes to me as I'm doing it. And like if I try too hard to like, I don't know, input too much in, then I like cold boot. But I think that one little book it seems really manageable. So it'd be nice to add something new into the and like this is the thing. If I don't nail it this revision, and it's not even about nailing it, that's what I realize now. And I'm so glad I'm in that headspace because before, like if we hadn't have done something like Pitch Wars, we get those massive edit letters that
Yeah.
just pull at everything. You can take it quite personally, but I was quite happy to realize that after like a moment of like shock, which just I think always happens, I very quickly was like, oh, actually that makes sense, that makes sense, that makes sense. This is gonna make it even better. And I'm
Hmm.
just ready to do the thing, you know?
Yes.
So yeah.
I think that's the thing that it comes with time is like learning not everything is a personal attack against you and your creativity and like your soul. You know what I mean? Like when you first start getting the critiques, it's like
Yeah.
everything hurts so, so much. But like as you start to, I'm not age, but like mature into the business age as well. But like you start learning it's not this personal thing
No.
attack. It's okay, what if we did this? Like let's work on this and maybe this will add to it. And it's like
Mm,
given the right person, the person that has your best interest in mind. Because
that's
also you
that's it.
will come across beta readers that really just are there to attack you and jab at you because maybe they're just
Mm,
having a bad couple of weeks.
yeah,
But with your agent, she has
that's
like your
it.
best interest in mind. And so it's not personal. It's like, let's work together and do this
Yeah.
thing justice.
No, I loved it. If it really felt like she was really in the story this time and like not that she wasn't last time, but yeah, like when people react to the things your characters are doing, it's quite
I love that.
because I've mostly been alone with my work, like aside from readers and stuff, but like having new people come in
Yeah.
who you trust. And I think really I looking back, I am because of like bad experiences in the past, like I am very like selective of like who I've shared my work with. And I'm probably gonna
Yeah.
have to share it more, which I feel ready for. Like in the mind space I'm in now, again, I think you do, like you said, you get to a point where you can kind of tell who's got the book's best interests at heart. And yeah, 100%, like I literally have the best agent in the world. And it was really like weirdly heartwarming to see her feedback. I don't know.
Yes, I love that. I love that. And even like with agents or beta readers or whoever, like you don't have to take every single thing. Like
Yeah.
if it's not feeling like it's what you're wanting in the story, then at this point, okay, well, I'll skip that
Mm,
thing, but I'll work on this next thing. Again, you've done this
well said.
many a time before.
That's
Yeah.
important to remember because I think you need to know like the heart of your story and what it is you're trying to do with it. Because definitely, even with your agent, there'll be things where you're like, they'll even like her first feedback. I definitely, there was one thing and I was like, let me rework it so it makes sense rather than change it. So then you work extra hard that it translates on the page to the reader. So it's not, that's such an important and valuable lesson to learn. It's not when somebody draws your attention to something they that not even don't like, that has flagged them in your book, whether or not you agree with their advice, I always pay attention to why they've flagged it when I've had readers
Hmm.
flag something because I'm like, something here isn't adding up for them. So it's either change it or strengthen it or just beef it up. Well, beef it up is strengthen it. Extra strengthen it.
Extra strength.
Yes. What about you, Miss Barnes and Noble best-selling author? My God, like,
Yeah.
yeah.
Ah. I crack up because like, yeah, so Sinner's Isle was on this major sale through BookBub, and then it was also like
Mm.
Amazon and Barnes and Noble. It was like it still is. I don't know
Yeah.
if it will be how long it is, but
Mm.
so it was $1.99 for the ebook. And I don't know if it like how if maybe BookBub blasted or if people are just like seeing it on there, but a lot of people saw it. A lot of people bought it off of Barnes and Noble, and so I just to punish myself, I kept checking the rankings. Honestly, it's pretty fun. It's always
Yeah.
amazing, like when these books, like these big sales happen. Like my Sinner's Isle ebook was probably like 200,000 when it first started, and then slowly like came down to 10,000 and then 5 and then 400 or whatever. And so like I
That's
was having so much fun just checking and being like this it's fun. And
yeah.
then I checked it on Barnes and Noble and then I saw the banner and I was like, huh? Huh? And yeah, so I was like I was I was like, wait a second. And like at first I kept like refreshing to make sure it wasn't a fluke, but it really happened, guys. And then the next morning I checked again, it was still there. But then the next hour it was gone. So it didn't last long, but I was hoping it would just stay there. Like if you do
Yeah.
it once, you're just always. But apparently not. Barnes and Noble is very stingy with those banners, but I took
Yeah.
evidence. It did happen.
That's all you
That's
need.
all that's all I care about. I know it happened. Damn
We
it.
know, and you can claim that forever. But I'm sure I don't know why it sounded funny when you said that. But it's such an achievement. And like it's like you said, going from yeah, like there's hundreds of thousands of books, and for it to rise up, and it's like what, a full year since publication, for it to
Yeah.
like just keep it just keeps going, you know, and I think it's just gonna keep going, you know.
Just gonna keep, hey, every time like little sales like this happen and people start reading, it's a great thing.
Yeah,
Hell, anytime I go to a new event or whatever, and if I find one more new reader, that's a new reader. You know what I mean? So like
exactly.
it's true. I think that's part of like the release of all this pressure I've been feeling or felt post debut. I don't feel it so much now for A Cruel Thirst, actually, to be honest. But I truly thought like that first like freaking day it launched was everything.
Mm.
I thought if, that's the day. That's the only day people buy it. For some reason, that was my mindset. I
Yeah.
have to make sure I make sure everybody knows because that's the only day anybody's going to buy this book. But that's not the case. And like you said, like people slowly find it. And
Yeah.
truly like people's TBR piles are huge anyways. So
That's
it
it.
takes a while to get to a book anyway.
Yeah. How many times have you had a book on your shelf for like well over a year that you really wanted to read and you just don't get to it sometimes
Yeah,
because that's
half
just
of
the
these books.
nature. Yeah,
Well,
same.
actually, I think I've read most of these ones.
Yeah.
But
Mm.
yeah, so it's like you think about yourself as a reader, and it does. You're either not in the mood, you're busy, whatever life. Um, so
Yeah.
yeah, it's freed me up a little bit. The readers will find it.
Yeah, and I
There's
can't
only so
help.
much I can do. You know what I mean?
You do a lot, my friend. And I do have to say, I feel like Montoya fans are like really cool. I feel like you
Yeah,
have the best fans, the best readers. They like really just nice people, you know?
I have to agree.
Yeah.
I have to agree. Maybe I'm biased, but honestly, the people that have like either been with me from the start or just have slowly found me in the book and whatnot are so freaking nice and like
Yeah.
over the top supportive.
I
So
love
thank
it.
you. Thank you everyone.
I love
Honestly.
it. I love this community we're making, and I love that we're making the new normal, like support and kindness, not gaslighting and jealousy, which feels like the old normal when it comes to this
Amen.
industry, you know? So
Yeah, we don't
I
need
just,
that.
no, we don't need that.
Life is
What
too
what a crock
hard.
of shit. Yeah.
We don't
Do you
need
ever
that.
say that? What a crock of shit?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Okay, good. I felt like it was something we'd both say. Well, I want to ask, we're like 2 months away from A Cruel Thirst coming out, eh? Is there anything
Yeah.
like coming up? Like what's happening?
Yeah. Yeah. What is happening? I'm gonna do a signing on the launch day on December
Yeah,
17th. Local. I'm just doing two local signings pretty much. So
nice.
your agent and I, Sandra
Yes.
Proudman and I, she is going to be my in conversation hostess. So we're gonna do that. Actually, I'll probably post about it within a week or so. So she and
Yeah.
I are going to do a launch event together,
Is
and
someone gonna
then
video it? I feel like I want video footage of this event.
yeah, I should probably do something like that.
Yeah.
I won't ask the boys, but I'll maybe Felicia's there. I'll ask her.
Yeah, ask someone to
Yeah.
video it. We can put it up on the pod.
Yeah, that'd be fun. And then the next day I'll be a couple hours south in the Bay Area with Haley Dennings, who we've had on.
Yes, of course.
So yes. So those are like the two in person. And then I have some like online stuff, which will be
Mm-mm.
really fun. Um, with like readers that have read the book and liked it. So that'll be a blast. And then I have a bunch of traveling next year that I'll
Yeah.
be doing.
Oh, that's good. You get
So
a little break
yes.
somewhere like
I didn't want to go like too hard on doing the launches because
yeah.
like Sinner's Isle, I went down to LA. I was doing a bunch of things here and there,
Mm.
and which was really fun. And I loved going down there and seeing like Para and who all the
Yeah, yeah.
buddies. But it's a lot. It's a lot of traveling and stuff. So
Yeah.
So yeah, that's
Gonna be
like I yeah,
amazing.
keeping it local,
I'm so
keeping it
proud.
cute. Thank you. I'm
They can
excited.
travel to you if they want to come for the
They
signing.
can. Yes, they can. But I will be, I actually will be back in LA in February for
Ooh.
like a romanticy con
Oh yeah.
convention.
You had your
Um,
taste of the cons and I think you liked it. Oh,
yeah,
you'll
I
get better
liked it.
every time.
I will learn to eat
Ti-
and drink my water.
Yeah. And to hide when you need to hide.
I shall. I really, really will. I think that's the key here
Yeah. I think
for
you have
me.
to. Like sitting at
Yeah.
that desk for 4 hours was like brutal.
Yeah. But like it was also so fun because I really did
Yeah.
meet so many awesome people that I think I forgot to, like I said, eat and do the things because I was like so amped up.
Yeah, but no matter how
Yeah.
happy you are, you can only smile so long. Like,
Yeah.
did
That's true. And I was putting on a show. I was,
your face hurt after from smiling?
yeah, I probably didn't smile for a week after.
That's so. Yeah, you just need to give your face a rest after.
Yeah.
I don't know why, but I've just
Wow.
probably thinking of the conference rooms and stuff. I've just been reminded. I don't know if you've seen on the news. There was some Bridgerton themed event in Detroit that
I
people paid
saw.
hundreds for. And it was like
Yes.
just this random blank convention, like just nothing in it, convention room with the entertainment was like a stripper on a dance pole and
That's so
one
freaking cool.
violinist. And some people
Ugh,
paid like $1,000 or something for like a premium ticket. It
that's
was
terrible.
so it's
That and because I saw like footage of it and they all the ladies were dressed up so nice and like that they've been planning this for weeks. Yeah, that's some greedy shit right there. Because there are a bunch of those like things that happen
yeah.
around, where they have like the bell. I don't know if they call it the bell, the
Oh,
diamond
the
ball or
diamond of
whatever.
the season.
Yes. So they have actual
Oh,
events where like it's all cute and I've
yeah.
had friends that have gone. It looked kind of fun. They also do some for like masquerade. Actually, I'm gonna be at one.
Are you?
Yeah, not for Bridgerton, but it's a masquerade ball, like a
Stop.
romance masquerade ball. I'm gonna be a featured author this November.
For Monsters in Masquerade?
No, this is something
No.
totally different. This is some like a local event that
Oh my
a
gosh.
bookseller is putting together in Sacramento. So I haven't
That's
it hasn't been
so
announced
cool.
yet, but I'll be there.
Oh my
Um,
gosh. I want
we'll
will
see.
you do a full outfit?
I
Like a
guess.
go
I
full ball,
guess.
get hire like a big ass gown.
Oh
I'd
Lord.
love to see you in your I'm gonna stand out and steal
Oh
the
shit.
room era for
I'm gonna
that
be in
event.
my friggin' quinceañera dress.
Yes. No, but you must. That's you know what? I always regret not dressing up extra for that stuff because it's the moment when you can. You
Oh,
know,
it's
go
true.
the full hog and whistle or whatever.
Yeah, it's true. I'm gonna go the full hog and whistle. I'm gonna do it.
I don't even know if that's how you say that saying. I shouldn't have tried. And you've got a mask to hide behind when you feel shy.
Yeah. Oh, I'm shy.
I'm shy, demure, all
Yeah.
mindful.
That's what I'll just keep doing. Like, I'm shy.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
you should put
So
like vampire fangs on and just every now and then just be like, it'd be good book promo. Make sure you take a
yes,
cruel thirst when you're dressed up like that and photograph it everywhere.
I should dress like in red. Oh, I mean, I could easily do a red dress for either book because I'll be signing Sinner's Isle there, I believe.
Oh my gosh,
It's,
yes.
yeah, it's like a bookish
Ah,
romance, like
yo.
masquerade ball.
I'm so here for this, obviously.
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
invested. I'm already like planning your outfit. Like, you know, when you watch a pirate movie and you'll have like, you can see like like if it's like a she pirate and you can tell their dress used to be grand, but then it's like a bit gothicy now,
Oh,
like
yeah.
aged and
Yeah.
like dark red velvet. Just
That's
throwing
good.
ideas.
I was just gonna like go on Amazon, but I like your ideas better.
Go to the costume shop and just hire something.
Oh, I didn't think of that.
You guys would
And
have wild ones over there.
yeah, I should just go to the Bass Pro Shop and just see what I can put together.
Something very truly Moroccan.
Just a full camo dress. That's what I should do. All camo. You won't even be able to see me.
You can
Did I go over your head?
no, paint your
Okay.
face and everything. It did take me
Yeah.
a second. It took me a second to register. Well, that's because I was thinking, when we were chatting with Claire, and she was saying like about overthinking and stuff, embarrassing moments, and it made me like think of something that I did recently, and I wanted to ask you first. Like, what are the kind, because we're all like this, we just replay embarrassing moments over. Like, what is your current shame moment? And will you share it with us?
Yeah. Sure. Yes. This is something that does replay in my head often. I don't know if I have shared this one or if I might have. I don't know. But like this is like a few years back. So for some reason, because I taught dance class at the kids' school,
Yeah.
and for some reason there was this one mom, and we always had like very awkward like interactions. And it was never like rude. It was just like it was always me. Like she would say something nice, and then I would say the most like offhand comment, like trying to be funny, but it didn't
Oh, it didn't
work.
land.
It did not land. And so I had just been doing like all this research on like DNA and like heritage and like like heritage and like all these things. And so she came up to me and she said, "Oh, you're so pretty." And I was like, "Oh, thanks, but it's not me, it's my genetics." Because I had just done all this research on like my mom's side, my dad's side, and I was like, it has nothing to do with me. It's just how genes work. And she was like, oh, and she just walked away.
Oh, that is awkward.
Yeah, yeah.
I've got no words of soothing balm for you there. But I will say, like, when the energy's just off with someone, you kind of can't repair it. Like, if it was with someone you like got along with, it would just like they might just laugh at you and then just be like, well, I guess my
No.
genetics are shit then, or
Yeah.
something. I
Yeah,
don't know.
she was done with me at that point. She
It's
was like,
also also
I've
like
tried.
if you haven't had good interactions in the past, it's a very like I I hate when people say that kind of stuff almost because it's like very random and almost like where's it coming from? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
can,
And my brain was off on a different tangent. She was over here thinking about, family history lines and
yeah. Like the people I grew up with, when they would say that to someone, um, it wouldn't necessarily be nice all the time, you know? You would know when it's
mm-hmm.
someone nice. But some people would be like, oh, not to me necessarily, but I'm being like a face reader. You would vibe it, or later they'd bitch about them behind their back. Not saying that that happened in this case, but I just
Who
mean it's
knows?
the vibes are off. It's just like,
The
why?
vibes were off.
Yeah. Maybe she
It
was
was,
also awkward and she just didn't know what to say. And she's just like, you're beautiful.
and here I come. It's not me. It's just genetics. Stupid.
Oh, that's hilarious. It's
Yeah.
honestly a
What was
really,
yours? I want
oh
to
my
hear
gosh.
yours.
I still feel hot and bothered about mine.
Oh, I love
Mine's
that.
bad as well, but in a different way. We drove out to this, there's this amazing Malaysian restaurant, and they just do the best like laksa and oh, it's like a fusion restaurant of a bunch of different cuisines. Um, they do the best like noodles and laksa and everything. So we're like, we'll go drive and get it because I was just like craving those specific noodles they do. And anyway, I don't know. Usually I'll send Phil to go pick up the order, but I was feeling bad and I was like, okay, I'll go. Don't worry. And there was nowhere to park.
Oh
So I
no.
like went in feeling all big and bad and they weren't ready. So I was like, oh yeah, no stress. I just like stood there. I was like, I'll be like cool and demure just on my phone waiting. I'm not in a rush, you know. Anyway, I like 10 minutes later, they were done. I was like, thanks so much. And the lady who served me, she had like My Neighbor Totoro and Calcifer badges. And I was like, oh my gosh, like I love your badges. They're so cool. And she was like, oh, thanks. And I was like, okay, thank you, bye. And I just like started to leave. Just on this buzz about like how we just shared this moment and we like love the same fandoms and I love this food so much. I'm in my zone. You're just having a good moment and you just feel like life is great. I'm cool. These noodles are great. And as I'm walking out, one of the other servers just looks up at me and she gives me this funny look and I smile because I'm vibing. And she moves to intercept me. And then I'm looking at her face and she's not happy with me. I'm like, wait, what
Oh.
did I do? And I turn around and they're like, you haven't paid.
Oh.
I had
Oh
completely
no.
forgot because usually we order on Uber. But then
Yes.
I realized it's cheaper to not do it that way and to just order over the phone and pick it up. But because I so often send Phil out and I just don't think about it, and I was waiting for so long, I forgot. I just blanked. And the shame, but they don't know that, right?
Right.
Especially like in that area, there's a lot of students who would just like try,
They,
just
they
do a
thought she
like,
was going. She was
yeah, yeah.
trying. Yeah.
I just there's no way to prove to people like that you would never do that. And the
Right. Right.
shame I felt has clung to me for days. These hard working, the restaurant was so busy, and here I am just walking off with my Luxes.
Well, I believe you. I believe you, Melanie.
Oh,
I
thank you.
know
I
you. I
needed that.
know. Yeah, if you want me to call them and give you a character reference,
Please,
let me know. I will.
please.
I'm like, do you remember that girl that tried to steal all the food?
They'd probably remember because of my, no, they wouldn't. There's plenty of blue hair in that area. But before we run out of time, I don't even know how to make a segue from that.
Speaking of, nope, I don't got
There's
one.
nothing.
Nothing.
There's
Speaking
no,
of people who would never run out on their food orders,
yes,
yes,
that was
we have a
good.
saintly human being.
We
Honestly,
do.
Claire is amazing. I love Claire.
I love her so much. And yeah, her book is just incredible. Is it my
We
turn or
gushed about it. We gushed.
we gushed?
Yeah. Do you have it up, the
I
bio?
do.
Okay.
Clare Osongco is a biracial Filipina American writer living in Los Angeles. Her debut novel, Midnights with You, is coming out from Disney-Hyperion. I never know how to
Yeah.
say it. Disney-Hyperion on November 12th, 2024. She enjoys mango with bagoong, mechanical keyboard sounds, and writing super early in the morning when it's easy to pretend the rest of the world doesn't exist. I
Love
second
that.
that.
I do too.
Mm,
I'm a morning writing girly too.
yeah. And I just can't wait for people to read this book because I honestly think it's one of those books that just like heals some part of you when you read it.
Yes, I know. I would reread it again
Yeah, same.
just to
Everyone
feel
buy this book.
something, just to feel something in my soul. I would reread
If
it.
you want to feel something, you know what you need? Do you
What?
have oh my gosh, Phil has just reinstalled my Japanese toilet. Let me tell you.
Okay,
Let me tell you how parched this cloaca has felt without it.
stop it.
I I can't believe we don't have them everywhere in Australia. I
This
have
is not where I thought
suffered.
you were taking this conversation. This is not where I thought you were going, but I should have known better.
You should have known better. I'm going to need
Yeah.
a whole episode. We'll talk about it more, but I need to just tell everyone to get like the toilet with the bidet, the Japanese toilet, because it's going to change your life. You know, you shouldn't
Yeah.
suffer under the tyranny of mere toilet paper, my
Yeah.
friends.
Yeah. Clean that booty.
Hello.
Hi, how are you?
Good. Very good. We're excited to have you on.
I'm so excited to be here. I love this podcast.
Oh, thank you. Well, we love you. We've been a nonstop gushing about your book, which we'll get into, but Melanie put it behind her just to represent. She
Oh
loves
my
it so
God, thank
much.
you.
I'm officially your fangirl, by the way, so I hope you're ready.
I'm so touched. No, like honestly, the messages both of you sent to me, you know how debut year can be nerve-wracking, but I just felt so encouraged getting like the DMs from both of you in close succession about how you liked it. So thank you.
Oh yeah. It's one of those things like being coming out of debut year, I guess, kind of now. Those little things do mean so much
Yeah, they
to
really do.
writers. And so like anytime and I need to get better at it, but your book truly just like touched me in the guts and I had to like message you right away, honestly. Yeah. So I'm glad we encouraged you in any way because truly it's so, so good.
Thank you.
Yeah, I can't wait for everybody to buy this book or get it from the library or however you get it. That's not pirated. Just get the damn book.
They're gonna want a physical copy though. Like, I'm not gonna lie, I hugged your book when I finished, which is really cheesy, but I did. I just lay there holding it and I was just like, young me wishes she had books like that because yeah, you just did such a deep dive into so many things. And yeah, but before we get too ahead of ourselves,
Yes, yes.
welcome.
Thank you.
I warned you we were gonna gush. We're so thrilled to have you here. And yeah, for our listeners who might not know you yet, can you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Yeah, so hi, I'm Clare Osongco. I'm a mixed Filipino American writer living in Los Angeles, and my debut novel, Midnights with You, is coming out on November 12th from Disney-Hyperion, and it's about two high school seniors with family baggage keeping them up at night who fall in love over a series of secret late night driving lessons, and their intense connection pushes them to confront the generational trauma that's really keeping them up at night.
Mhm.
I will also add, so I live in LA now, but I grew up in the Northeast. I spent my high school years in Massachusetts. So that is why I have written a book about two lonely East Coast Asians.
Aha, yes, gotcha. Well, it's funny. I mean, obviously, I have no foot in the game here, but I've heard so much like talk about California Asians
Okay,
versus
are
like,
you getting that on TikTok too? Oh
yes.
my God. Okay. No, I think that's so funny. That's actually like part of why I felt like I should add the disclaimer. Like,
Yeah,
I
yeah.
am a SoCal Asian transplant. But yeah, that I guess I won't get into this too much, but yeah, it's funny how there's this discourse about like SoCal Asian stereotypes. One of the stereotypes is that SoCal Asians listen to Keshi, who's like a Vietnamese American pop R&B musician. And I like sincerely love Keshi's music, and I did before I knew this was a stereotype. But I went to a Keshi concert last year. I promise this is like this anecdote will end soon. And it was like the most Asian Americans I've ever been surrounded by at one place at one time. And I was like, I think I would have been a different person if I had had this experience as a teenager. Because anyway, this is related to the book. Growing up, being so like I lived in mostly white towns, and I just felt like there was something so wrong with me. Like both
Mhm.
being Asian, a kind of Asian people don't tend to know a lot about in most parts of
Mm.
America, Filipino American, and being mixed. I just mixed race. Like my dad was white, much like both characters in this book. I felt so incoherent and like my story did not make sense to anyone. And that was one thing that like motivated me in making both of these characters mixed Southeast Asian. Yeah.
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 No, I mean it felt so honest and real. And it's like obviously Melanie and I are not mixed race Asians from, Southeast, but like you felt every single bit of that story and it was so relatable in so so many ways. So yeah, it's just a gorgeous book. Again, we're already gushing too soon. We'll get to it.
Me opening the episode with I hugged your book. There's nowhere to
I
go
love
from
that.
there. But also, please take all the tangents. The tangents are my favorite. Even like when we just have to chuck the questions away, just tell us all the stories because we really just want to get to know you and hear about your life and like what's brought you here to write these stories. So yeah, take the tangents. We're here for them.
Okay, awesome.
Yes, yes. Well, before we go off on any more tangents, we want to know a random fact about you. Actually, two, but the first one is, what is the strangest thing you own?
Yeah, okay. I don't know how, I mean, maybe this is like not that strange, but I own a tiny version of the car that they drive around in this book.
Cute.
I got this from you know how like writers are always saying celebrate all your wins because this like publishing is so punishing. If you don't celebrate your wins, you'll get beat down really fast. So I got this for myself before. It's the mentorship program that doesn't exist anymore, RIP. But um, yeah, I actually put a lot of thought, like an absurd amount of thought into the specific car that the love interest in Midnights with You drives. Um, but it is a Subaru WRX 2004
I
Impreza.
thought it might be. It's like one of the few cars I recognize. Sorry, it cut you off for a second. Where did you say you got it from?
Oh, I just ordered it online.
Oh.
But yeah, and it's funny because like none of this, there's not really anything about the car or the reasoning behind it on the page in the book. But that whole thing came about because during the pandemic, I was binging the Fast and Furious movies. And then I started reading about the real life car culture that inspired those movies. And it was like a Southern California, all Asian American car culture for the most part in like the late 90s and early 2000s. And I got really fascinated with this. And then when I started writing this story, so the love interest, Jay, going back to what I was talking about with like he's growing up in these all white places and he feels kind of out of place. But he romanticizes in my head, like this is not on the page again, but I was thinking he would romanticize this car culture from like a place he's never been to and a time that was before he was born. And I think and the part of that that I relate to is growing up in cut off from your culture like that. I think you end up having a parasocial relationship to things that become part of your identity in this weird way. Like you didn't directly experience them, you're learning about them through the internet, but then those things like help you feel more like yourself.
Yeah.
I also
Yeah.
have this magazine that's like all about this kind of car. Anyway, these are the strangest things I own. Guys.
I love that. But it's so real though, because I was in the Bay Area in the early 2000s, late 90s, and it was such a huge part of the culture there. And in the Bay Area, it's a
Yeah.
huge, there's particularly Filipino culture is very predominant in the Bay Area. And so like there's so many like of those cars, and there's like street races people we would go to, and like it was the scene. And then Fast and Furious came out, and we are like, this is it. Like this is life.
Fun fact, and you might not believe this, but I actually wound up a friend took me to one of those illegal like night street races, and it was that vibe. It was like all the Subarus, all the like souped up cars. And yes, the police did come, but that's a story for another day. But yeah.
I think it's super cool that you thought so much of your character, so much of the story that didn't even make it on the page.
Yeah.
But it truly makes so much sense for him. I freaking love that. Like it just adds so much more depth. And that's, I mean, why they truly felt so real and honest. Again, great job.
We're just your forever fangirls at this point.
Yeah.
But I really like, I can't recommend this book enough. I just think it touches so, like, no matter what you've dealt with, even if this kind of generational trauma that we seem to have, all of us passed down, like, it's really relatable in so many ways, even if you didn't grow up in that specific environment. And yeah, but before, again, I get too ahead gushing, I want to know what's something you think about way too often, aside from Subarus.
Yeah, so I think way too often about my embarrassing moments, especially when I'm leaving any kind of publishing event. I have this bad habit of playing back all the awkward things I said throughout the event on the way home. So sometimes I'll be like stopped at a red light and I'll actually just sit there and go, ah, because I'm just thinking about all the things that were awkward. But I'm trying to overcome that habit.
It's
It's
hard.
relatable. Yeah.
It's
No,
very
it is. Well, you'd be surprised how many like authors we've had on here and asked that question. It's the same answer for many of us, which is just like
Yeah.
we're just in our head, just replaying everything and yeah, being hard on ourselves.
the most comforting thing I've heard, because yeah, I'm exactly the same. But a quote somewhere was like, "Don't worry, because everybody's doing that. Nobody's thinking about you or what you said because they're too busy playing the conversation over in their head."
That's real. That is
That
very
is
real.
real.
Okay, well, let's get into the next question, which is, have you always wanted to be a writer?
Yeah, so actually, pretty much as long as I can remember, I have wanted to be a writer. And there is a backstory to this too. It sounds heavier than I mean it to, but this is what happened. So when I was 1 year old, my dad was diagnosed with cancer, and he knew he really wanted to teach me how to read. And he was like, I'm running out of time. So I learned how to read pretty early, um, when I was either 2 or 3. And then he passed away when I was 4. And sometime like soon after he died, my mom mentioned that he had always wanted to be a writer, but he never got to realize that dream. So I have this vivid memory of one day where I was like, I'm going to be a writer. But then I really stuck with it. Like it really stuck with me. Like it wasn't just like, oh, I'm just repeating this because my dad wanted to do it. I don't know why I ended up loving it so much, making up stories. But I wrote a lot when I was in like elementary and middle school. I think the first novel I tried to write was a portal fantasy. Um, I wrote several probably very cringy attempts at like romance in middle school before I had any experience of romance in real life.
That's
Um,
cute.
That's so
and
cute. I would pay money to read that. And
oh
we
my God,
kiss under
they
the
are lost.
slide.
They are lost to the sands of time. Um, I must have finished one though, because I do remember at one point I queried one, like via the mail, like with envelopes and all that, and I got like a physical rejection letter. But over like moving over the years, I have not saved any of this stuff. Um, and when I was younger, my family was kind of like, "Oh, this is a cute, like eccentric quirk." But then as I got older, it became more of a point of conflict with my parents, especially my mom. So my mom got remarried, and like both of them were kind of like, "This isn't a real job, writing fiction." Um, and in one way, I see the point. Like, it's good to have a job with healthcare. Publishing is very precarious. Like, I think it's great to have a day job if you can to balance out how like unstable it is. But I think they were so worried about me pursuing it that I got a little too discouraged, I think. Like I felt like it was embarrassing or cringy to want to write if you can't get published. Like, which I like really I very strongly disagree with that now. I think that having a creative activity in your life, whether or not you can monetize it, it just adds so much to your life. And so
Mm,
that's what I want to tell young people. Like, yeah, it's unstable. Be careful. Have healthcare. But um, you should write. Like it's just it adds so much to your life to have a creative way to express yourself.
mm,
But I kind of I got discouraged. I stopped writing for many years after college. Um, but then in 2020, the pandemic hit, the world shut down, and I had this moment where I was like, wow, one day I'm going to die. I should probably do this thing that I've always wanted to do. And that like
mm,
all those years I wasn't writing, in the back of my mind, I was like, I really want to do that though. But I actually remember in that like limbo period where I wasn't writing, sometimes I would try to start writing and I would just feel so much shame that it would like stress me out so much that I would stop writing. But for some reason, the world being in lockdown kind of it was a set of conditions that made it so I that shame didn't seem so important anymore because the whole world
Mm.
felt kind of like far away. And I was lucky enough to be working from home at this time, but I was like not, seeing outside people. And I was like, what is even getting published? Like, why do I care about this? I really just want to write the story for me. And so from like summer 2020 to winter 2021, I would wake up really early before my day job, mostly at like 4 a.m. because I wasn't doing anything in the evening. I could just like spring out of bed at 4 a.m. And I also felt safer writing then, I think, because it was like no one is using this time anywhere. Like no
No
one is
guilt,
expecting me to
right?
do anything at this at 4 a.m. So like,
Mhm.
yeah, I really wrote it in the middle of the night as like a secret thing for me. And I think that kind of seeps into the book because it's like it takes place in the middle of the night, and these driving lessons are the secret time for both of the main characters. Um,
I honestly have chills over my body, like from what you're saying in like the best way, just because, yeah, like it's so hard to balance the two. But like when you
yeah,
have whatever it is in life that reminds you that it's fleeting, and
Mm.
like, yes, we have to make a living, right? That there's a lot of cold, hard realities that some of these people in our life want to like protect us from, maybe, or whether it comes from jealousy or whatever it is, like that's real too. But you're so right, like in those moments where it all falls away and you're just this like soul just trying to exist in the world, and you're like, well shit, what do I want to do? And then you chase it with every, that's like, I really resonate with that, where you just like, fuck, I'm just gonna go for it because
yeah,
why not? Why not? So please tell us all the things.
yeah. Well, when I finally let myself start to write this novel in 2020, I felt like I was more myself than I had been in years. Like I felt like
Mm,
there was this like important part of myself
yeah.
that I had just been like suppressing this whole time. And I had so much fun writing this draft. Also, it was like the first draft was terrible. I like did not know what I was doing. I had never read a craft book, or taken a creative writing class. I did not know what the three-act structure was. Like I was really just, doing this completely for fun. And but I had such a good time writing it. Then when I finished, I was like, well, I guess I can query it.
Mhm.
So I did not really understand how to revise. So I queried it way too soon. And I thought that that book died in the trenches. But
Mm.
while it was like slowly dying in the trenches, I thought, well, I had so much fun doing that. I should write another book. So I did that. I wrote another YA romance. And that one was honestly even worse, I think, but I learned a lot by writing it. Like that book is shelved now because the plot was just like so generic. Um, but I learned so much about voice because I wrote it dual POV, which I like. Dual POV is super hard, but I think it was fun to just like try it and learn that
Yeah.
I thought it was hard. Um, I learned a lot about voice and I learned more about structure. Like that second book is when I was actually like, let's sit down and read Save the Cat, shall we? Um, and so that then I queried that book probably also too soon. But then while that one was getting rejected, I thought I have so many ideas now that I want to bring back to
Yeah.
the first draft of the book that was Midnights with You. It went through like 12 title changes, but I'll call it Midnights with You for simplicity's sake. Um, and around this time, I was binging every publishing podcast I could find. So that's why I'm like so thrilled to be on this podcast. Publishing podcasts have just really like nourished me as a writer because I feel like they really make me feel less alone in this whole
Mm.
thing. Like the way it feels like hanging out with friends and how much I've learned about the publishing industry through them. At that time, so this was in early 2021, I was listening to a lot of Write or Die and First Draft with Sarah.
Love Ride or Die.
Yeah.
Love Ride or Die.
And I listened to this episode of First Draft with Sarah Ennie with Emily X. Sarpan, and
Mm.
she talked about doing several full rewrites of The Astonishing Color of After over the course of 10 years. So I was like, wow, okay. I guess I can at least try to do like one full rewrite to start. Um, so I basically scrapped what I had and rewrote it completely. Like I changed the POV. The first draft was in a distant third person because
Ooh,
I think I was
Mm.
kind of like scared of my own voice.
yeah.
Like or like also scared to inhabit the characters' emotions too much. I was just like scared writing this first draft, right? So I wrote it really like stepped back third person. Um, that second book, I wrote it first person for the first time, and that's what gave me all these ideas about what Deedee's voice should sound like. So I came back to Midnights with You, figured out what Deedee's voice was, and even though it's been through a bunch of revisions since then, the first pages are pretty similar to like when I had that revelation about like this is what Deedee's voice is. Um, so that was exciting. But I spent the summer of 2021 just doing a full rewrite on this book. And during that summer, I was on writing Twitter and I learned about pitch wars for the first time. But in my mind, I was like, well, I'm just doing this first full rewrite. I like don't even know if I'll be done by the time applications are due in the fall. Maybe I'll apply next year. But then I just happened to finish like a week before the deadline. So I submitted. And then, as we all know, that was the last year of pitch wars. So I am very glad I didn't wait. A sign it's good to shoot your shot.
Yeah, you slipped right in there, right at the last.
Yeah, no, I feel so lucky. Like so much, people always say so much in publishing is luck and timing, and I've definitely seen that in my own journey, like time after time.
Yeah.
But I got lucky. I got into Pitch Wars. It was an amazing experience for meeting other writers. I learned so much from my mentors, Zulfa Katu and Molly X Chung. Um, and I did that first full rewrite completely like self-guided before I submitted to Pitch Wars. And then as soon as I got in, they were like, we want you to do a full rewrite. Like, let's go. But so I did those back-to-back full rewrites. I got my agent through the showcase. I was really lucky there.
Amazing.
And then my agent wanted me to do another full rewrite. So it was like 3 back-to-back full rewrites over 9 months or something like that.
Wow.
And then we went out on sub after that full rewrite. And I had one of those unicorn submission experiences. Again, totally luck and timing. But we went on submission on a Tuesday and it was in August. So it was like everybody says publishing is so slow in August and you shouldn't go on sub then. But we got super lucky in that some editors, I guess, like because it was so slow, they had more time to read. And the ones we sent to just happened to not be on vacation.
I can't
luck and
help
timing.
Yeah.
I'm going to disagree politely. I don't think it's luck and timing at all. If that came across my table, I would be like fighting for it. Like,
thank you.
Just know that people are, and like, luck and timing definitely play a part, don't get me wrong, but also listen to your journey, how many revisions this book went on. I think a lot of people get that feedback and they're like, it must be shit. I don't want to go to even the next step, you know? It's very confronting at all those parts. So yeah, there's a bit of like timing and luck, and I 100% agree, shoot your shot because you just don't know when it's going to be that moment that something happens. But yeah, it's really exceptional, and it's not just luck and timing. There's a lot of bloody hard work and yeah, that blood and guts and everything that you've put into it, you know?
Thank you. But so we went on sub on a Tuesday, and then on that Friday, as also I'm like super sensitive. Publishing is hard for me in this regard because every rejection like weighs on me so heavily. So going on sub for the first time, I was like, this book is gonna die on sub. I'll never hear from it. Like I'm sending my children off and I'll never hear from them again. You know, I was feeling very emo. So the end of that week rolls around. I was like, I need to lie down. I'm like really stressed. And then while I'm lying down, my phone starts ringing. Like it was really an incredible, like incredibly fortunate experience. But that was the first editor saying they wanted to take it to acquisitions. So I got super lucky on sub. It went to auction and I ended up taking the offer from Disney-Hyperion.
Heck yes. But Melanie's absolutely right. Like you kicked ass and you never gave up. And that is a lot of the difference. It's just being that stubborn bitch that is not going to give up.
Yeah.
And you did it. And like, I can see, like Melanie was saying too, like, I think I read your book in 2 days as well as the editor. So like, it makes sense. It tracks. That is incredible. Like you really and truly did put your like whole guts into this story. And it's so good. Everybody get it. Please listen to us. Has there been anything like about publishing that has surprised you in this wild journey?
Yeah, I mean a lot of things actually, but I think I expected it was going to be tough because I grew up with like like hearing it's so impossible to get published. Like, why are you even trying this? But I think the specific ways it was tough surprised me a little bit, especially how opaque it is. Because like
Mm.
I think I knew trying to sell art, the intersection of art and commerce, that's going to be rough, right? But then
Mm.
some of the ways that publishing make like some of the ways decisions are made, like the lack of data, the lack, like I hear so many authors say, like, I don't even really know what my sales data is like, okay, if we're gonna be doing this like harsh commerce thing, why aren't we like, looking at the numbers? I don't know. So that really surprised me. I think just like also maybe I am looking at publishing and being like, these things don't make sense to me, but maybe it's just because I have such limited information. But I think how opaque it is, how like when you have a deal and you're the author, like people don't tell you things. And I hear so many of my friends say this too, like the author is the last one to know. You
Mm.
you like
Yeah.
find things out that happened for your book by Googling your name. Like,
Yes.
yeah, that was really surprising.
It is interesting. It's so interesting. And I actually, I mean, obviously there's stuff that I probably can't even say, but I've had this meeting actually yesterday with like a few people in at Penguin Random House. And they were kind of just asking like, you know, because there was like some miscommunication, and so they wanted to hop on a call with me just to make sure like we were in line about things. And I was like, well, truthfully, I'm just an author. Like to me, every email, anytime you want to talk to me, it's a big deal because I never hear anything.
Mm.
You know what I mean? Like, I don't know what's happening, but on their end, a million things are happening. And so when they shoot you an email like, hey, let's have a chat, I'm like, oh, me? Oh my gosh. But for them, it's just like a random Tuesday. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
It's
totally.
truly, it's a wild, wild business to be
And
in,
how
especially
overworked
for a
editors
sensitive
are
subject.
too, I think surprised me. And how their main task isn't to edit. It's like a lot of project management, being in meetings, advocating for books, and then they're reading submissions and they're editing. So like I think just yeah, how burnt out editors are, that also surprised
It's
me.
fun.
Mhm.
Yeah, no, that makes it's wild. Truly, all the things. They're not just sitting like relaxing, reading a book, like with their little red pen, just like, you know
Yeah.
what I mean? Feet up on the desk. It's everything. Yeah, I couldn't do it
Which I'm
myself.
sure is like what we all pictured about publishing at some point. It was just
Yeah.
like ah, well, I want to ask you, you've been on this incredible journey to where you are now. Do you have like a writing tip that you could share with our listeners, something that you've used to craft this amazing book?
Yeah, I think the thing that really helped me, because I was so blocked, right, for so many years,
Mm.
a thing that helped me a lot was setting a timer and telling myself for this amount of time, I'm allowed to write badly.
Mm.
That was so freeing for me. Um, and I think writing badly is such a huge win in a first draft. Um, I really think your main job with a first draft is to fall in love with it and to finish it. Those are two jobs. But yeah,
Mm.
that's what finally helped me break out of my years long writer's block.
That's
That's
amazing
good.
advice. And it's the thing is, the smart thing about that is once you get a few words out, you've already like you've broken your block. So even if you give yourself permission to write the crappiest sentence in your life, but there it is on the page and you can fix it later. I love that so much.
I do too. Are there, you mentioned Save the Cat, I believe. Are there any other like writer resources, craft books, podcasts, like anything that you are loving either right now or just like it's your go-to resource?
I found the industry side of things so confusing. Like even with querying, I think in the beginning, I I got kind of like deceived. I mean, deceived is a strong word because I'm sure no one was trying to deceive me, but like I got like lulled into a false sense of security by how easy querying sounded when I just looked on agency websites. I was like, oh yeah, I'm just sending an email. But there's a whole like, I feel like it's like studying for the SAT. There's all these like ways to be good at like querying as a specific thing. So like listening to publishing podcasts, like this one, helped me a lot. And I love hearing different people's stories because publishing is like so bizarre. Everyone has really different journeys. In terms of craft books, I think the combination of Save the Cat and story genius was very helpful for me because my like natural state was to be very character driven.
Mm.
Mm.
Story genius helped me think in a like more intentional way about character, but then Save the Cat was very helpful for me because it like forced me out of my natural plotless state. And like I think helping me understand plot and structure really helped me like keep going and get better. But also I would say I read those books kind of like with a light hand. I'm very like take what you like and leave the rest with those books.
Mm.
Because I think I don't know, like there's no one right way to write, and everyone's brain is different. So I wouldn't beat yourself up about like doing especially Save the Cat. Like I
Yeah.
definitely don't like follow everything to a T, but I think just the overall idea of like knowing where your story is going can be really helpful to like get to the end.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
helpful. And I think it's the difference between early writing and like, somewhere in between along the way, because you really just vomit those ideas out of your brain at the start, at least for me. And it's not really a story. It's just like a collection of happenings that don't really relate
Yeah.
to each other. And I think I agree that in that way, Save the Cat was so helpful for me too, that just gives you that like spine to run through and like kind of connect it so that the story in your head is a story to other people who are going to read
Yeah, totally.
it.
That's perfect. I love it. Okay, well, we've already kind of touched on your book and like the premise, but let's dig deeper because as we have said, it's so good. Can you tell us like a little bit more, just basically like what your thought process was in coming to this story? Like, what was the inspiration? How did you, I'm just going to spew a bunch of questions. How did you come up with the characters? Like, tell us, like, we've got mom over here, all the different backstories. Like,
Mhm.
how did it all come to be?
Yeah. So I always joke that I wanted to write something like To All the Boys I've Loved Before, but because I'm full of sadness, this came out instead.
I love that.
I love that so much. That should be
It's like
your tagline.
Yeah.
it's like half a joke, but also kind of true because I literally did. I was inspired by To All the Boys I've Loved Before, but then it's like this clown car of like sad themes that just, like piled out of me. So I think also I basically wrote the story to like comfort myself in like a dark time of the pandemic, right? So my initial inspiration for it was that my therapist at the time said something about showing up for your younger self. And I was like,
Mm.
how do I do that? But this book kind of was like a response to that. Like I wanted to write a book that I felt like I needed when I was younger, or that I'm older and I wanted to really think about like if I were a teen now, what book would I need? So I tried to think about that and like write it for this generation of teens. But I wanted to take pain that was familiar to me from my childhood and take made up people who have different personalities or different than me in some ways, but who are experiencing a similar pain to that and then give them a good ending. Like that was my main intention with this book.
Beautiful. And you did, obviously not to be spoilery, but the ending was by far my favorite.
I'm so glad.
Yeah, like Melanie, it was just a hug at the end
Mhm.
that we all needed for,
You
for
need
what
it.
everybody went through. Yeah.
It's a therapy book for sure. And I think about that a lot because yeah, like not everybody is able to, for whatever reason, do stuff like therapy and whatever. And sometimes they can find some of those things, that introspection in books and stuff. And I really think it's powerful in that way, seriously. Is there something you wish your readers knew before reading this book?
Actually, I really want people to know that it ends well, so I'm glad that you both brought that up because I think early reviews, I'm so grateful for these reviews, but a lot of people have been like, "Oh, this book is so sad. It made me cry. It's so brutal." But like I want people to know that it does end well. Actually, one
Yes.
reader who I appreciate so much, one early reader messaged me in the middle and she was like, "This better end well." It's like it does, I promise.
Yeah,
Uh,
because you don't know, because truly, like, you're like, what's gonna happen here? Yeah. So
yeah. No, these characters go through some hard stuff, but it
Mhm.
does end well. The romance label is not like a lie. It is. They do have an
Yes,
HEA, so
they
yeah,
do, and in the very best way too. Like it feels
Mm.
mature, not in like a explicit way, but it feels like in their heart and soul, it's mature and it's right and it's honest. So
like they really have to grow up. They have to
yeah,
grow
yes,
a lot to like earn that. Yeah.
they
Mm.
earned it. I love it. I'm here for it. Well, what has been the hardest part of your journey so far?
Okay, so I feel like this might be, I feel a bit bad answering this way, but I also want to be honest because I don't hear this answer as much. So for me personally, um, debuting has been the hardest part. And I always feel like this nervous need to be like, I don't want to sound ungrateful. And I don't. I am like super grateful to have a book coming out. Um, but just for me personally, like when I was querying, I'm very sensitive and rejections hurt a lot, but I think I was also kind of buoyed by how euphoric I felt to have just rediscovered writing. I was like, I'm
Yeah.
having a great time. Like I would, get really sad about rejections, but then I just felt like there so much was like possible because I had just like suddenly reopened this thing that I love to do. And I felt like I had so much to learn. Like every rejection, I was like, well, that's okay because I'm still growing. So I don't know. For that idiosyncratic combination of reasons,
Mm.
querying didn't feel as bad as this. And then sub, I got really lucky. I already mentioned, but debuting, I think partially because I think collectively as writers, we kind of like talk about getting the book deal as the last
Hmm.
hurdle to clear. And then when there are like more hurdles, it's kind of like I feel like there's less information out there compared to how much there is about querying or even being on submission about how being pre-debut can be stressful. And I think for me personally, trying to self-promote and self-market this book because the themes are so personal and the emotions in it are so personal to me, that was just like it's taken a lot out of me. I don't know.
Mm.
So the hardest part so far has probably been the past year. I
Yeah.
had a big learning curve with like doing promo on social media. And I think there are a lot of points before in like the 2 years before a book is traditionally published, typically where like there are so many chances to compare with other people, but you also don't have that much information. It's like the opaque thing meets like how public it feels to
Yes.
Mm.
yeah, to be trying for this thing you want. I don't know. Yeah. Like
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
drive myself crazy looking at Goodreads.
Oh, I
Yeah.
hear it. I hear you. I hear you. And same. Like, yeah, the pre-debut like year even going into it, like the in the last like 4 months going into it was so intense. And like for me, I just kept feeling this pressure of like, I've gotta get this out.
Yeah.
I've gotta get people to see this book, however. And but it is hard to market your story because even if you're saying, well, it's this trope and that trope, but there's so many more layers that it's not just a tropey thing.
Right.
And so that was my hardest part and still is like saying what the book actually is. And
Mm.
Yeah.
even for you
Yeah.
was such a personal story, being like, well, here's my trauma. Like
Right.
here it is,
Yeah.
world, enjoy. It's a scary and intimidating thing. And even after debut, which is what I found was wild because I kept telling myself, like, okay, once we hit pub day, like we're good. I could take a break. I'm done.
Mm.
And then it just kept going. So be easy on yourself.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, as I'm telling me, like be easy on yourself, take breaks, do whatever the hell you have to do to survive and still feel the joy because at the end of the day, this is about our books and this is about us writing and loving craft. So yeah, you're gonna
Mm.
be great. It's gonna be amazing. But
Yeah.
I understand that it is hella hard.
Yeah, and well,
So
it's almost the complete opposite of what we do as writers, like
Mm.
being like a marketing person. And And yeah, I think that that part's always going to be hard to juggle. But also, like, I think trust your story as well. Like, even like we're talking to a Barnes and Noble bestseller today as well last week.
Yes.
Like, Sinner's
Yes.
Isle is still just finding its people and like hitting things.
Yeah.
And I think it's the same thing. Like, books aren't like movies. They don't have this they don't always have the like everything coming at once. But I think that these good stories, they linger and they find their readers eventually, and somebody who bought it this time. I mean, for the record, I think it's gonna pop off. I think we're gonna see it.
It better. It better, world. Just
Okay.
from Melanie and I alone.
Well, I mean, we will be there cheering loud enough for
Yeah.
that
I
to
appreciate you
happen.
both so much.
I'm not even like over exaggerating even a little. I just absolutely can't recommend it enough. I think it's profound and so yeah, relatable in so many ways. But I want to ask you now, on the other end of the spectrum, what's been the most rewarding part so far?
Yeah. So I'm gonna name three things because a lot about it is rewarding. I think the writing itself, always want to remember how much I love that. Like it really is my most favorite thing. And when I get really like stressed about the minutia of debut year, like my Barnes and Noble sales rank or whatever, when I remember how I felt when I wasn't writing, like just remembering that kind of like makes me remember what it's all about. And I've been writing some new stuff this year. Like I've been really glad that I'm still writing. I'm still having fun doing it. Um, then the friends I've made because of writing have been like so huge in my life. Like I just like didn't expect this because it's hard to make friends like after college as an adult. And I think like before I started writing again, I was kind of in this place where I like was worried I wouldn't really make like new friends in life after that point. I was like, well, these are the friends I've got. Like, but
I'm stuck
then
with you guys. Yeah.
but then like with pitch wars and also like getting to know people in LA at like book events, I feel like I've just like I have met so many amazing people. Like I had a moment this summer where some of the writers I know in LA were just like, let's go write in a coffee shop together. And people kept, inviting more people. And there were probably like a dozen of us at least at this coffee shop and on the patio all writing. And I was like, this is just like beautiful. Like the
Mm.
writing has added so much to my life, even if like, I don't know. Yeah. Wherever my career goes next, I'm so grateful for the friends I've made doing this. I'm so grateful I got to meet both of you. And the third thing is hearing from readers. Like, so with early copies going out on NetGalley and everything, I have been really grateful to get some feedback from people who really resonated with the book. And just like remembering my original intention of wanting to write a book to like show up for people who have an experience similar to mine when I was younger and to help them feel less alone. I have gotten like maybe like a dozen messages like that where people are like, I feel really seen. I had a really similar experience. So like also whatever happens, that I feel like in a certain way this book was a success based on my original goal because
Mm.
at least a few people have felt feel less alone after reading it. So yeah, that's been a really gratifying part.
That's really special. I mean, that's it right there. It's the trifecta, 100%. The community is beautiful and so
Mm.
special. And it's true. It's like, oh, you can make friends. It's
Yeah.
amazing.
That was so relatable.
Yeah, yeah. Yes, 100%. Well, I want to get to our favorite question, which is looking back at all you've accomplished, what advice would you give a younger version of yourself before you even started this journey?
I would tell the younger version of myself that it's totally okay to write alongside your day job. Like you don't have to make this your full-time job for it to be a worthwhile activity. And actually it will add a lot to your life in so many ways. It'll make you feel more like yourself. It'll open the doors to meeting all these people. Yeah, so if I could talk to my younger self now, I'd be like, just write anyway. It doesn't matter if you ever get published. It's going to be great.
Yeah,
It's such
beautiful.
valuable advice. And I think, especially because there's like when things do happen, and if it is your goal to try and make it a career, there's so much waiting in between and so much uncertainty. And you need to like kind of just love it for, like you said, what it brings to your life, the people it brings to your life. Otherwise, there's no like longevity to it, really. If you're just waiting for those big moments, I think there's going to be a short career,
I think that's so true because there are so many long periods where it's like just you and
Yeah.
your work and your friends. So yeah, like that is like I feel like 80% of publishing is like long, ambiguous ways of it's honestly.
That's real.
That feels so real.
It does.
It could even be as high as the high 90s, my friend.
Right. No, for real. But like if you're having fun with the work and if you're having fun with the company you're in, then you're golden, I think.
Beautiful. I love it. Okay, well, what's next for you? I mean, obviously we've got debut. Do we have debut activities? What's happening for you?
Yeah. Well, so I'm going to have a few launch events. I am going to have a launch at the Rip Bodice in LA on November
Nice.
14th. And then I'm going to be going to New York and having a launch event at Lofty Pigeon Books in Brooklyn on November 20th.
Yes.
And then I'm going to come back and do one more event in Long Beach at Bel Canto Books. It's a great Filipino American owned bookstore. That will be on December 15th at like 4 p.m. Anyway,
Amazing.
yeah. Oh, I'll also be at NCTE. I'll be on a panel. I'm very excited.
Very cool. Look at you go. You are out here. You are doing the thing. Yeah, I'm so excited for you and for everybody to read this story when it comes out. Everybody listen, please do it. Claire, thank you for joining us. Like, honestly, this has been so fun. Melanie and I've been so excited to chat with you. And yeah, just again, gush about this book.
I apologize for our overwhelming you with
Oh my God, don't apologize.
our
It's been so fun talking to both of you. Thank you for like being such great hosts. You really put me at ease.
Of
so
course, it's
glad.
our pleasure. It's honestly, I wonder how many times I've said gush on this episode.
I'll be able to tell you when I edit it later.
Yeah, we'll have to play some sort of game for our
Yeah.
listeners. Every time Angela says gush about Midnights with You, who knows what we'll have to do. But
Yes.
yeah.
Well, in our last minute and a half, I want to ask, like, is there something you're doing to spoil yourself or that you're really looking forward to, like in this period now?
Yeah. I have already asked some of my closest writing friends if we can just sorry, maybe this is like bad to say if you're writing for teens, but I don't drink that much because I write early in the morning and I get bad hangovers. So I have not drank for like a year at least. Anyway, so I've put on my Google Calendar, get drunk.
Yes!
My book comes out. Like I feel like I've earned it.
You fucking
Hell
earned
yes.
it. And don't worry, I marked these episodes explicit, so it should
Okay, great.
fall into any.
That's
Drink
so
responsibly,
wild.
kids.
That is wild.
But it's real as well. Like at a certain age, you kind of have to schedule that.
Schedule the hangover, 100%.
Right.
Well, congratulations, Claire. Can't wait for you to pop them bottles. Thanks for joining us.
Yes.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
We'll let you
Well, it's
go
gonna cut us
now.
off.
It's gonna cut us off any second, but I'm gonna let you go because we forced you to suffer through double. Bye.
Thank you so much. I love
Thank
being on this podcast.
We love you.